What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Comfoodication. I'm excited for you guys to meet my new friend Nicholas, who didn't say his first sentence until he was 6 years old. He was diagnosed with ADHD, Central Auditory Processing Disorder, and showed signs of autism all throughout his life. And despite these obstacles, he still ended up graduating high school with a 4.8 GPA, named Valedictorian, a 4-sport athlete, and got over 45 college offers. I'm excited for you to hear his story. Here we go. All right, I'm about to head out to Smoke and Fire Social Eatery. It looks like this incredible barbecue place. I've never tried it before, but I am super excited. Here we go. Here we are at Smoke and Fire Eatery with my boy Carl. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's got a short rib, brisket, 2 burgers in there. I got mac and cheese brisket, 2 burgers, and some brisket fries. Oh my gosh. How is it, Carl?
I might cry, man. I might cry. This is so good.
Smoke and Fire Barbecue. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
what's up, Nicholas? I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Oh man, I appreciate you joining me, man. I am such a huge fan. Like I know we've been messaging back and forth, and for those of the people that are watching that don't know a little bit about Nicholas, I first saw him. It's crazy, dude. I was watching ESPN before work one morning, and it just so happened that your interview popped up. So Nicholas was interviewed on ESPN, and his story is incredible. I'll give a little bit of a background. So just graduated high school, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what high school did you graduate from?
Arkansas High in Texarkana.
Okay, and you graduated at 4.8 GPA,
Yes,
named
sir.
valedictorian, a 4-sport athlete. You got over 45 college offers, right? Is there
Yes, sir.
anything that I've missed?
Over $1.5 million scholarships in total.
Oh my goodness, man. So so that's incredible just for anyone to reach that type of accomplishment. But it's especially special to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And why is that? Why is that? Why don't you give a little bit of background of why this is so accomplishing?
The doctors, like I've said in other interviews, I spoke my first sentence when I was 6 years old, and the doctor said I had signs of autism, ADHD, central auditory processing delay. Like they said, I was always going to have difficulty in reading comprehension and math.
Wow.
So I was always in several therapy sessions, and just over time, things just started to click. And then my next goal was trying to prove all those doctors that they were wrong.
That added fuel to your fire, man.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's incredible. It didn't sound like many people gave you a chance, because I mean, so you said you didn't say your first sentence until you were 6 years old. Is that correct? So you were formally diagnosed with autism at what age did they give you that diagnosis?
5, 6, yeah, somewhere around 5, and then I guess later on, they just said signs of autism at that age, and yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, that is incredible, because I'm a speech therapist, and so I work a lot with kids on the spectrum. I have a family member that is high functioning autism, and so I have a real passion, and just when I heard your story, I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. Because you are truly an inspiration. I'm a huge fan, like I said before, because that is not easy. That is not easy to do what you did with all these things that the doctors were diagnosing you with. So, what were some of the hardest obstacles that you faced growing up?
Okay, so I didn't really have behavioral issues at all. It was just that it was very hard for me to be socially accepted.
Hmm.
So like I really couldn't speak. So I was always too physical with the kids. Like I would grab their arm or just yank them because
Yeah.
because I know how to say come play with me. Like I wasn't trying to be mean or anything. It's just
Yeah.
that's how I thought was normal.
That's how you
So my
communicated.
yeah. So
Right.
I had like speech therapists and talk with my teachers, and they would set up play dates. So during recess, so it could help me interact more with the students, uh,
Okay.
my peers, you know. So just at a young age, I just wanted someone just to talk to me and just play. I didn't know how to do that. So, you know.
Right. So it wasn't like you wanted to be by yourself, or you just you wanted friends. It sounds like, and I think we all do. But it was challenging for you to know kind of how to navigate conversation and situations like that.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So how did you start overcoming some of these obstacles in your life? What kind of got you through some of this adversity?
Okay. So definitely God, of course, but my mom and dad, 100%. It was just full on support, unconditionally. They're the ones that brought me here because I was just in my own world. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So all the sessions and everything, and it's just they all in the previous interviews, they my mom said that they wanted to put more deposits in my life than withdrawals
Hmm.
because they knew they couldn't control the people that were insulting me or hating and all that. And you know the world is evil and cruel, so
Sadly.
they wanted to put more love into my life so I could be ready for when all that happened, and you know,
Wow.
soar. So
That's awesome. So God and your parents were the important factors in terms of just overcoming adversity, man. I absolutely love that because I know for a lot of parents, and it can be a scary time, but it sounds like your parents did exactly what they needed to do to instill positivity and confidence in you so that you can be able to graduate with a 4.8 and get all these college offers. It's a beautiful thing, and that is so awesome that you give credit to God and your parents.
yeah.
How early did you get involved in sports? Like when did that love start for you?
Um, in basketball, it was like 7, 6. Yeah, it was pretty early. In sports, you know, my first love was basketball, of course. So, since I was like with ADHD and all that, I was all over the place. You know, I just knew that I just love running around. I love playing sports, and then soccer came into. And at first I wasn't thinking of trying to score, even though I was trying to, but I was thinking of I'm running, I got the ball, people are coming at me. So it was fun. And then I started learning more about the fundamentals. I was like, wait, soccer and basketball is pretty fun. And
Mm.
so I started getting focused more, and it helped me with a mindset. And now I really love basketball, and then I want to play that at a college level now. So that's
Right.
what I was.
It started with basketball, and then you said
Yeah.
soccer you got
Yeah,
into.
I don't know what age it was for soccer. Yeah, 8, 9, somewhere in there. So,
Because you were a four-sport athlete in high school. So what all did you play?
basketball, soccer, track, and cross country.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. That is incredible. Now I'm a huge sports fan. Like that's why I was watching ESPN. I've played basketball, baseball, football, but track is something I've never been a good long distance runner. Just give me the ball and let me score. Like that's my kind of my mentality. But I have so much respect for track stars. Yeah, exactly. So what's your favorite sport to play? What's your top?
Basketball, that
That
100. Yeah.
and that's what you're gonna play in college, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what position do you play?
Uh, I did in high school. I was like a power forward. Like I was
Okay.
probably the big man that was mid range rebounds. I had all that locked down. I was not letting nobody out rebound me in the paint. So, but in college, I don't know yet. but whatever it is, I'll execute it. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do. That's my mentality, because I can't pick wherever I want to go. I'll just do whatever the coach needs me to do.
Exactly. So you're a pretty tall guy. How tall are you?
6'4".
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I'm 6'3", so I'm definitely kind of more of the forward type. But I'm sure you're a better like shooter and ball handler. I can't wait to see you play. So where did you get offered, and have you accepted a college offer yet?
Yes, I committed to Harding University. It's in Searcy, Arkansas.
Oh, okay, great. So not too far.
Yeah, not too far. Perfect for my parents to come and watch some games in.
Right, I'm sure. Yeah, parents don't want you to move too far. So are you gonna dorm then?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't know which dorm I'm gonna be in, but I'll be excited either way.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, college is a new experience, new people, new environment. How are you feeling with the change?
When I come to the visit, the campus, beautiful, structure is amazing, and when I came to talk to the coaches and the teammates, love first sight. It was crazy. Like the teammates, the chemistry was amazing. They all have fun. Like there's no hate. Like I never experienced this type of bond before. So I knew this was fate right here when I went to Harding. And it's a Christian environment, it's a small community. And awesome. I just knew it was it for me.
Okay, so it's a Christian environment. So you and your family are Christian as well? That's awesome. Me too. So I've listened to some of your other speeches, and I hear you talking about God and different Bible verses, and so I just have so much respect for you and how your parents raised you, because I think we have similar mindset and mind frame for a lot of different things. So that's awesome. What do you want to study in college? Do you have kind of a goal in mind?
So I'm thinking of majoring in electrical engineering.
Oh.
So I've always liked math and science. Those are like my favorite core subjects. And so I was looking at careers, researching, and I just saw electrical engineering that I saw that compared with math and science. So I was like, okay, you can build electrical components, electrical devices like phones and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Nice. And technology is always advancing, so you're always going to need engineers.
Right. Oh, that's high demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of, going big corporations, Google, Tesla, just.
Oh, man, yeah. Dream big, man. Dream big. You got a lot of potential.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So electrical, you said electrical engineering?
Electrical engineering.
Wow, see, my brain doesn't work like that. I'm bad at math and numbers. I'm more of the science kind of guy, but that is so cool. So did school come easy for you then? There's some problems that I didn't really understand. So that's why I had to ask questions. I asked a lot of questions because I want to make sure I got the understanding right. Then it made math more easier, because if you try to do things by yourself thinking you understand it, it's going to be a lot harder for you. So I always ask the questions if I ever need help, and then it started to click even more. Right. That's a great mindset to have, because I think some of us our ego can get in the way, and we don't want to ask questions or act like we don't know something. But did you have like aides in school? Take me through like some of the therapies or resources you had.
You mean in high school or?
Yeah, elementary or high school. Did you have any aides?
There was a 504 plan.
Yeah.
Where I could, if I had to take a test, I could get extra time, because it took a lot more for me to try to figure out this one question, because it's just how my mind was. And they let me go outside in the hallway just to take the test, because I need to be very quiet, because there might be people making noise with their pencils, or it's nothing to hate, but I just really needed to focus.
Right.
So they let me.
Yeah.
And there was also another room called Mastery Content. And it was like another room where it's completely quiet. Just some teachers that just lets you take the test there. And even if the bell rings, you can still be in there, take your test. And then you have a slip for why you were tardy, and then you won't get tardy. So it helped me really focus when I took my test.
Yeah, that's incredible, because I know, that's the beauty of some of the public schools and the school systems for kids who have some of those learning difficulties, because like even just a click of a pencil, like you said, your mind can be so focused on that you're not even focusing on the test itself. So that is awesome.
And what's also is I also asked questions, could I take pictures on the board or do recordings of the lectures so that I can go back to them back home so I could rewatch them, because it was hard for me to write notes during lectures. Because I was always focused on, you know, the lectures. It's hard for me to write, say, okay. So I had to have, I had to have it recording like right by my desk, and they let me do it. But you have to ask the question first, because they don't know if you need help or if there's something wrong that you need assist with. So I always ask those questions just so I can have an understanding in class.
Awesome. So you had to learn how to advocate for yourself, it sounds like, you know, just speak up when you weren't too sure. And like you said before, you're a visual learner and probably, you know, an auditory learner. So you had pictures. So you started to figure out kind of what worked best for you.
If there was 30 slides, I'll take 30 pictures. So then I can look back of them back home to make sure I got everything understood.
Wow. So how did you manage, because I mean, 4-sport athlete and a 4.8 GPA, how did you balance both?
You know, there's two things you need, hard work ethics and perseverance. You need both of those. So after, you know, after a game, basketball game, and it's like 12 o'clock midnight and you got work, you still got some homework. I didn't say, okay, I'll go to sleep and then work on it 7 o'clock, wake up early. No, I want to get that done at night and then finish up 1 or 2, how long it took. So I didn't have to worry about it, you know? So if I had like a workout or anything, I would do my assignments first before it was time for the workouts, the fun, the games, all that. I want to do that last. I want to get my work done before I have fun. That's how I thought, because if I have fun to do the workout, I'm going to come like, I don't want to do it. I'm too tired. So I didn't want to have that mindset. So I wanted to work was more important than having fun, you know, entertainment and all that. So.
Right. Man, is that something your parents instilled in you early?
Yes.
That's a great mindset, because a lot of kids don't have that mindset, my friend. Like that's a really, really positive way to think about things. And so I'm just so thrilled that we're able to have this conversation. I can learn a little bit more. So another question I have: what do you want people to remember you for? Like you have so many skills and talents, like in sports, and you want, you know, be an electrical engineer. What do you want people to remember? Kind of like your legacy.
I just want people to know that, you know, anything's possible. It's okay with your whatever limitations you have. It's all right. Just whatever you want to do, persevere through that. Situations, family, whatever it is, whatever issue it is, don't let that hinder you.
I totally love that, and that's why I wanted to get your story. Just because when I first heard, I was like, wow, this is inspirational. And in my YouTube channel, I like talking to people that have, you know, inspiring stories that have kind of overcome adversity or difficulties. Is there anything you would want to share for advice for like a kid who might be on the spectrum, who might have central auditory processing disorder? Is there any advice that you would want to give if they're watching this right
now? You don't have to, you know, do one thing. So like I always put on my post # more than a sport. You know, I don't want people just to look at me that I'm just some athletic, you know, Black African American. I want them to know that I'm also focused on my academics. I'm a student first, then an athlete.
Right.
So, you know, just let everyone know that focus on your studies, and then whatever you want to do, you can do that. But make sure you get your studies first, because that's going to be helpful in the long run in sports.
That's going to propel you forward. Man, that is so awesome, man. I love hearing this story, and it's so awesome to finally meet you after a few weeks of messaging back and forth. I had a question: is your mom or dad around?
My mom.
Oh, your mom is. Okay, cool. Do you mind if I ask her a few questions?
Oh yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah.
Oh great. Hi. nice to you.
How are you
doing? Good. I'm just thrilled to be able to talk to Nick, and now to you. Oh, cool. That works. So I just had a few questions, because I always love hearing the parents' perspective. Like I said, I'm a speech therapist, and so I meet a lot of parents who have just had a child with a diagnosis of autism. And it's can be a scary diagnosis for a lot of parents if you weren't, if you didn't know too much about it. Take me through kind of that process when Nick first got diagnosed and you started noticing there's some things that are a little bit different.
Right. Well, I work in the realm of social services. So I work at the Social Security office. And so, I see cases, I see children with disabilities, adults with disabilities. And what I've learned through the years is that, people who are disabled, truly disabled, don't want to be disabled. Oh. And when you have a child with deficiencies, you don't want them to have those deficiencies. Mm-hmm. So autism wasn't out there. And when we realized Nicholas was having difficulties, we fought a lot of those battles privately because we were told boys mature slower than girls. Mm-hmm. And it's just something that he's just going to work his way through. But then once we found out throughout his whole entire kindergarten experience, that first year, we found out that he was calling everyone mom, including the students. I could make out words that he was saying, but I didn't realize everyone else was struggling with that. So I was almost forcing myself to understand what he was going through. Mm. And so when we found out how deficient he was, that's when we started reaching out, trying to get answers. And honestly, back then, there wasn't a lot of information. It almost seemed like we were winging it. Most of the time. We were going out trying to buy books, trying to find resources. But then, of course, once we started talking to his teachers, once we started talking to his therapist, I just made sure that I was present. Like even for the sessions, I wanted to be there with him during his speech therapy sessions and all the different sessions that he had, so I could come back home and mimic what they did with him, And so I was purchasing homeschool curriculums just so I could reinforce a lot of things with him, just to make sure he was like on board with certain strategies and concepts, because he wasn't getting it all in the classroom. So I feel like we were winging it, but people ask questions all the time, like, what did you do? And I'm just like, gosh, we just, our dysfunction became functional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because as a therapist, that is music to our ears when we hear parents, who are so involved in taking what the therapists kind of teach back into the home, because that's where the kid spends most of their time, right? It's coming to me for just an hour a week. There's only so much I can do, but we have parents that are really involved and invested, and it sounds like that's exactly what you guys are doing.
And every kid is different. Like, it's so hard to pinpoint what your kid's issue is and compare it to another kid's issues. Right. So, we're just so blessed that things just kind of started clicking, and he still has his hiccups. Like, in his mind, he still thinks he's a 6-year-old who can't articulate his words. And so we're constantly encouraging him, saying, oh no, you're doing great, because in his mind, he still feels he has these deficiencies. So that's something he continuously has to work through, but just with supporting him, we know that he's going to be just fine.
When he wasn't communicating, Nicholas, did you have a device, or were you using sign language?
Yeah, Mom did teach me sign language when I was younger. I don't remember what age I started.
That's weird that you asked that.
Yeah, you're a psychic or something.
Yeah. I knew sign language when I was in school. It's something that I took. And because he was so visual, I knew he couldn't communicate. So early on, I said, well, let's just start using our hands. And those were the things he caught on to. We started with the alphabets, and then we started adding, gradually adding on animals and colors. And so that was at 3, 4, 5. And so we did that for a while. He didn't keep it going.
Right. Bear.
Bear. You remember Bear. There you go.
Some of it stuck. Because once you became verbal, then it's like we don't need to use sign. Right. Yeah. And so, did you know anyone that also had a child with autism? Were you familiar at all with that diagnosis? No.
I was not. As a matter of fact, when we chose private school, because we were told early on, he knew what an octagon was at 2. And he knew his letters, he knew his colors, but he just couldn't communicate. So language is different than just someone speaking a word and saying red or blue, And so No, I just knew when they told us he would not function well being one of 30 students, we had to put him in a setting where he was one of 8. And so, just being blessed to be able to put him in a private school, that helped tremendously. But what we found out early on, kids who were 3 and 4 years old, they were so articulate and they were talking. That really let us see how behind he was. So everyone around him seemed to be geniuses. Honestly, we didn't have anyone to compare, him to. No other autistic kids. We felt like we were like the only ones dealing with this. But now everyone's talking about it, but we didn't feel that.
At the time, it's definitely come a long way, just the education and the information that's come out. So where did you ever find any resources or blogs that helped you, just feel a little bit more comfortable with everything going on?
Well, it was mainly the therapists who were directly associated with the private school that we were attending. She was our lifeline. And so just dealing with, spending time with her, she would invite Nicholas to her home, and then spending time with her, that led to us networking with other therapists. And so that's really what it was. It was just one referral and one recommendation after another, so the speech barrier was the biggest focus. We knew those autistic traits that he had, like him transitioning to different, he had trouble transitioning from one activity through the next. He didn't understand space and he didn't understand time. And he was so impulsive, and so he wanted to be invisible in programs. He just kind of covered his face, and in his mind, he was invisible, So it was, he just had so many layers to himself that it just seemed like we were dealing with 3 and 4 therapists at a time. It was just an overwhelming experience. But like I said, it just day by day things got better. I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but just maybe 3 or 4 years we started to see, improvements. But
that's incredible. And so you mentioned speech therapy. What other services was he getting at the time?
Speech, language, cognitive. Golly, I'm trying to remember. Whatever it was when they gave us they gave him a weighted vest, because I can't even remember. Like I said, it's been 19 years, and I can see when parents reach out to me now, they're asking for answers. I remember several of the therapy sessions, us coming home with weighted vests, because he couldn't deal with, like I said, he was impulsive and he didn't understand. He just couldn't take off running across the street, So I remember his therapist giving him weighted vests to help him remain still, and gum being something that really helped him, and fidget spinners and things to just keep his mind occupied, and just him being able to do his work on the floor or in a bean bag. So there were so many layers and so many things that he had going on at one time. It's just so hard to go back and pinpoint what they all were.
Right. But it sounds like you had a good team of therapists, maybe some occupational therapy.
Occupational therapy, yes.
Sensory input. So it's just awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking.
Yeah, you can tell. That word rings a bell. Anyway, it's there's just so many stages, and trying to think back to all of them. How we got here, it's just it's all God, because we just don't know how we overcame so much in 19 years.
Yeah, and I was gonna say it can, talking to a lot of parents, it can seem like a very dark place when they don't know the resources. And so what got you through some of those difficult days of maybe some hopelessness, maybe some fear? What was it that helped kind of push you through?
Looking at him and seeing his drive and determination, honestly. He never gave up. So every morning I remember praying over him and saying, God, please protect his spirit, because he didn't realize, he said he didn't realize anything was wrong with him. Right. And so every morning I would say, okay, are you ready to go to school? And he would be so excited to go to school, even though he didn't have relationships with the kids because he couldn't talk and he couldn't communicate. So what got me through was him still being excited about getting up and beginning his day again.
Right.
I would be stressed and worried, and I would spend several minutes in the parking lot, seeing him walk into the classroom. I would go and eat lunch with him every day because I wanted to see if he was engaging and interacting with other students. I never knew, I knew he was struggling socially, but it never affected him in a negative way. So praying every day, just please protect his spirit from, kids not understanding him, because it wasn't the kid's fault that there's a kid that couldn't speak, you know what I'm saying? And so seeing him every day get up and wanting to try again and not realizing he had so many limitations and restrictions, that encouraged me and my husband to fight harder for him. Right. And so that's just what got him through every year. He's just been so intentional about proving doctors wrong. So we're with him. Like, we don't even say he's with us anymore. We feel like we're with him. He's the hero,
Right.
He's made us better.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And so, Nick, you were an inspiration even back when you were 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, sure.
That is
sure.
That's so incredible. Is there any advice you would want to give parents, who are kind of going through the same process? Maybe they just had a child diagnosed with autism. What advice would you want to give the parents?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I don't want to sound repetitive, but I know it worked for us when we were on the ESPN interview. I talked about just being protective of your children's space, making sure that who's surrounding them, making sure that their circle of influence is positive, because you can't control when the world is ugly to your child. When he goes to school, I couldn't force kids to be his friend because we knew he was socially awkward. He was perfect in our eyesight, but not the world's. So we always made sure that we were loving on him more and depositing more into his account. So if at any time the world withdrew from his account and made him not feel good about himself, he still had more positive and more love to pull back on than being depleted, at the end of the day. So just love on your babies, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and just don't give up. Have faith, trust God. Yeah. He'll see you through.
That is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just thrilled that we were able to have this conversation today. That you got to
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is great. I'm so glad you
go ahead.
No, thank you for this opportunity. It was great. I'm just glad this is for a great cause to help motivate and encourage people that are like me, autistic, and have signs of disabilities mentally that hinders you in life, but it's possible to overcome them and still be successful in life.
Amen.
We watched the video with you and your cousin.
Yeah.
We watched that together and we were just blown away at.
That's me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. He's me, and it probably would have made things better if he could have identified with other kids. And actually during your therapy sessions, there were kids like him, but he didn't know that he was in therapy back then. But we were just so impressed with how you interacted with him. And we could tell then you had such a passion for kids on the spectrum. So he immediately felt safe going into the interview. He was like, this guy loves what he does.
Praise God. I know interviews can be nerve-wracking, but I kept trying to reassure. I was like, it'll just be kind of like talking conversation, because I'm a bigger fan of you. So I was see it like on ESPN. I was like, this guy's a celebrity, man.
Wow.
So no, this was incredible. I was so excited to talk to you guys, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you, Mom, as well, and get your insight, because it's not just the child that's on this journey; it's the parents,
Absolutely.
As well. So
thank you
so much for taking the time, and I wish you best of luck, Nick. I know we'll stay in contact. I'll let you know when I put the video together so you can watch it. But thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate. Don't ever doubt your purpose.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching this episode of Comfoodication. I hope you learned something new and were inspired by Nick's story. All of Nick's social media is in the description down below. And join me next time as I focus on the able and not the label.